Guess we'll go ahead and get started. I might have to stop and let somebody in here in a minute. Um, we're going to talk about analyzing arguments today. You should be able to see my screen. Um, this says analyze arguments, and it's got like the little guy bubble comment. Not let me know. Uh, let's see here. But first, I always like my coffee facts. Um, So 90% of the world coffee farming takes place in developing countries, while the developed countries consume most of the produced coffee. This helps a financial funnel where money from developed countries flows into developing countries through trade relations. Coffee is also second in trading in the world. It's only second to oil. Oil is the most commonly or I should say, the most traded commodity in the world. And if you think about how much oil that we consume in the world, that's a lot of coffee. So I think that's an interesting fact. But you know me, I like my coffee facts. So let's talk about what the components of an argument are. Basically, an argument is just stating what I think, or as the writer, what the writer thinks. Why do they think that? Why do I think this? How do I know this is the case? Okay, that's the components of an argument. If you've ever watched the movie McClintock, it's from 1963. It's a John Wayne movie. I don't know if you're John Wayne fans. I love John Wayne movies and westerns in general. If you've never watched John Wayne movies, I would suggest you start because there are some really good ones out there. But in the film McClintock, um, this lady, her name is Catherine McClintock, she left her husband, GW, 2 years before. So 2 years before, when this story starts to take place, she had left her husband. And in the movie, she comes back to ask for divorce. Um, her husband refuses to grant her a divorce because he doesn't really understand why she's angry with him, why she left. He doesn't even know what happened. Typical guy. And then at the end of the movie, she finally makes her argument or claim. And she says that she thinks that he cheated on her. She thinks this because she found lipstick on his collar. And her argument is that men don't get that close to another woman and to get lipstick on their collar unless they're cheating. Okay. So that is her argument. That is a good example of a claim, an argument. Arguments deal with issues that readers might reasonably disagree about and have reasonable grounds to support one side of an issue over another. That's a good example of an argument. So, for example, here a while back, someone put a post on Facebook and they said that a local community had all of its bridges washed out and no one could get in or out of the city. Okay. That was his claim or argument. So people from the community started questioning him. They started commenting, on his Facebook post, and they said, well, there are only two bridges in town. Are they both washed out? Can you get in from other roads that don't have bridges? Well, the answer was yes, you could. So his argument was not a valid argument, or it wasn't a valid claim. He didn't have facts to back up his claim. Um, Therefore, it wasn't valid. Okay. When people started questioning it, he didn't have a very strong claim. Matters of personal taste, um, such as one food over another, those are not true claims or arguments because it's a matter of opinion. For example, if I said pumpkin spice is the best spice used in fall, it's better than everything else. Well, I have my that's my claim, but is it valid? Um, And the answer is no, because it's a matter of opinion. Lots of people, I could give you all kinds of reasons why that I believe it's the best. I could say lots of people buy it, lots of people love it. There's all different kinds of things made with pumpkin spice, such as drinks, cookies, breads. And some people would agree with that argument, but those that don't like pumpkin spice would disagree. So this is not a true argument or a valid claim. It's a matter of personal taste or personal opinion. So let's try a different one. If I said seatbelts save lives, I believe this to be true. Why? It has saved me from injury and personally in a car accident. How do I know? The CDC states that seatbelts reduce the risk of death by 45% and cuts the risk of serious injury by 50%. And say I give you this little chart here with statistical evidence. This would be considered a valid argument or a valid claim. People may disagree with it for the needs of seatbelts, but there is evidence that supports this claim. I can back it up with evidence. Okay, so this would be a valid argument. When reading arguments, you should always ask yourself the following questions. Is the claim for the argument clearly stated? Is the evidence factual and relevant? Does it come from a reliable source? Is there enough evidence to support the claim? Is the evidence up to date? Is it, obviously if you give information from 30 years ago, it may not be true. So we want to make sure it's up to date. We want to make sure that it's unbiased, that it's objective. Is there a clear distinction between fact and opinion in the argument? Okay. Steps in a process. Let's talk about steps in a process real quick. So one type of informational text is the informational how-to guide. You buy anything these days, any kind of appliance, electronic, gadget, something as simple as I don't know, paper towel holder. They always give you informational how-to guide, how to assemble it, how to use it, things like that. These may include instructions for installing, say, for example, a smoke detector. It could be things like a recipe. A recipe is a good example of steps in a process. There's a certain sequence in which a recipe has to be made a lot of times. Certain things need to be mixed together before you add other ingredients. You need to mix things, you need to knead things before you bake them, so on and so forth. So that is a good example of a process. And it may be procedures of how a bill becomes a law. That's a process. Those are definitely many steps in that process. This is a little chart that kind of goes, shows you how a bill becomes a law. And as you can see, it has to go through multiple steps. They have to introduce it into legislation. Then there's like a committee, and then they have to debate it. And then, they have to talk about budgets, things like that. I mean, numerous steps. That is considered a process. Okay, it could be something less serious, like how to make a paper airplane. Steps and processes are how we complete a task. Some processes are linear. For example, you have step 1, step 2, step 3, or the project won't come out correctly, okay? Such as folding a paper airplane. There's a certain order of steps that you got to follow. Science also uses steps in a process. If you think of science experiments, if you ever did any of those in school, if you don't follow the steps, you may have a serious disaster on your hands, okay? Science also uses the steps in a process. So let's see, if scientists start by asking questions, then they make a hypothesis or an educated guess. Then they test the hypothesis with an investigation, which usually includes an experiment. And then finally, they analyze the data and draw conclusions. So it's this cycle, it's a step by step, okay? Every scientific process basically goes by these steps. Okay, are there any questions so far? Okay, so we'll move on. And the next thing I want to talk about is fact and opinion. I like my little cartoon I have up here. Just my 2 cents, you hear that a lot. Basically, that's my opinion. That's my take on something. It may not be factual, but that's my opinion, right? And then you have facts, cold hard facts. Okay, so a fact is any statement that you can prove or disprove through observation or by reading and looking up facts. For example, if I said that planet Earth is flat, this is a fact. This is what I'm telling you, it's a fact. The planet Earth is flat. Why is this a fact? Well, it's not. Because through all of the evidence we have so far by scientific observation, you can look and tell that the Earth is round. You can prove that the Earth is not flat. You can look at scientific facts to prove that the Earth is round. So observation and facts help you determine if a fact is true or false. I don't know if you've ever heard, there is a whole group of people out there, they're called flat earthers, that believe that the world is actually flat. And they have all these reasons as to why they think it's flat. But all of the evidence, the scientific evidence that we have satellite pictures, we've had people out in space that have observed the Earth, and it is in fact round. We can back that up with scientific evidence. So stating that the Earth is flat is an opinion. Anything that cannot be proven true or false is an opinion. If I say tacos are better than spaghetti, which I believe they are, as a matter of fact, I am stating an opinion and I'm letting you know what food I prefer. You cannot prove through science or observation, history, anything like that, that tacos are better than spaghetti. It is complete matter of opinion, okay? You often find facts and opinions in social studies. Remember, facts are things that can be proven or disproven. Opinions are anything that cannot be proven. If I say the Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, 1776, this is a fact. You can actually Google it, you can research it, and you can prove it to be true or false. That's what makes it a fact. Okay, if I say Franklin Delano Roosevelt was the best US president, this is an opinion. You can't prove who is best or worst president. You can have your opinions all day long and your reasons for that opinion, but it's not a fact. You can't prove it one way or the other, okay? Same thing goes on today. Some people think Donald Trump was the best president ever. Some people said he was the worst. Complete matter of opinion. No facts involved in that. Okay. Usually, if it is a fact, you can Google it, you can research it. If the answer is yes, it's a fact. If it's no, it's an opinion. Okay. I hope all of this made sense. This was a short lesson today. But we have several assignments. Let's stop sharing that screen. Do you have any questions for me real quick while I'm getting our homework assignment up here? Okay. We are actually on class 6, day 6, February 2nd. And I'm going to share my Google class here. So if you scroll down to today, February 2nd, class 6, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I actually have a common lit assignment that needs to be in there, and I'll post that here in just a moment. But for the next hour or so until we meet back here at 11, I want you to work on each one of these, and then we will go over them at our Zoom at 11 o'clock. Let's see. Just something else to note. We only have 2 more classes left after this one. This was a fast class. But I will let you get to work and also use your extra time to catch up on any work that you haven't done yet that you need to get caught up on. If there's no other questions, if you go ahead and type your name in the chat box for me to sign out of class, and then you can leave and work on your assignments, and then we will meet back here at 11 o'clock to go over it. Okay, I will see you in a bit.